I'm going to give you 7 things that if you implement them and you work on them diligently every single day, you're going to see a turnaround in your marriage.
We're bringing sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up? What you want, body?
Hello, beautiful lady. Yes, I am talking to you. It is Thursday, and you know what goes down here on Thursday. Wife Life with Gail goes down here on Thursday. So do me a favor, hit that little subscribe button and the right bell right next to it so you'll know when I go live. And tonight, I want to talk to you about 7 things that you can do to make your marriage great. 7 things that you can do to make your marriage great. Now, I know you're probably saying, Gail, you don't know my husband. Gail, you don't know my wife. We've had so many things going on. I don't know how a great marriage looks anymore. But I'm going to give you 7 things that if you implement them and you work on them diligently every single day, you're going to see a turnaround in your marriage. And these 7 things were the 7 things that I had to implement. Notice I said me, right? Because you can't change anybody. You can only change yourself. I implemented these things years ago in my marriage when Gil and I were on the verge of divorce for the second time. So the first thing that I implemented in my marriage to bring things back, and now we have an amazing, great marriage. Not perfect, because no marriage is perfect, because no two people are perfect. The first thing was lots of patience. Lots of patience. I noticed that in my own personal life, I was patient with so many other people and in so many other situations. But when it came to being patient in my own marriage, with my own spouse, I was not so patient. So I implemented patience, right? Number 2, to make your marriage great, is lots of intimacy. Notice I didn't say lots of sex. I said lots of intimacy, because intimacy leads to amazing sex. That flirting again, the holding of hands, the hugging, the kissing, the saying how handsome, how beautiful she is, sending a text message of a picture with you just smiling, saying, I love you. All of those things bring you closer together and can lead to amazing sex. The next thing, number 3, that can make your marriage great is lots of love. Unconditional love. The kind of love that God gives us every single day. Yes, are you going to be frustrated? Yes, are you going to be disappointed with your spouse? Yes, are you going to be like, oh my God? But that unconditional love that loves them past what you can even ask or think, that's what you need to implement every single day in your marriage, even when you guys are at odds, even when you don't feel like speaking to them. Love them anyway. The fourth thing to get great marriage is lots of communication. And sometimes this is hard, especially if you're struggling. But don't shut down, because I used to be that person that was shut down. But I learned that I needed to communicate and not withhold and not speak to him for 2 and 3 weeks, because I could do that. But being able to communicate my needs, my wants, my desires, my disappointments literally began to change things around. And I also learned to communicate and to listen, to understand, and not to respond. That's a key. Listen to understand and not to respond when it comes to communication. Number 5 to a great marriage is lots of touching, right? And as if you're a mom or your aunt or whatever, we know as children, physical touch can heal so many different things. So when you're dealing with a marriage and you're trying to make it great, make sure that you physically touch your spouse every single day. Even again, if you're not in a good space, a hug, a touch. And when Gil and I were in such a bad space and I wasn't even talking to him, literally I would lay in the bed even when he was asleep and God would tell me just to lay my hands on him and to pray for him. And I struggled sometimes because I was like, I don't like him and he don't like me. We're on the verge of divorce. Why? But that physical touch, what made me realize that I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to do this without him. And God showed me that physical touch is what bonds us together. And number 6, to make your marriage great, is lots of kindness. Lots of kindness. Being kind to your spouse is something that will take you beyond anything. A kind word, a kind gesture. Being kind is something that we do for other people all the time. Why not do it to the person that we said I do to? We're kind to people in the line, in the Walmart or wherever. We're courteous. Be kind to your spouse. When you guys got married, you became one flesh. And number 7 thing to make your marriage great is lots of prayer. And I know you probably was like, Gail, that's the first thing that you should have said. But I wanted to end on this note, right? Because God created marriage in the beginning of his book, and he ends with marriage, with marriage at the end of his book. And all the way in between, he teaches us to pray. And if you're in your marriage for the long haul, till death do you part, make sure that you take time to pray for your spouse daily. Daily. Not just sometimes, but daily. And my prayer is that you begin to implement these 7 things so you can have a great marriage. You can have a great marriage, but it takes work every single day. Don't try to change your spouse, change yourself. Implement these 7 things that I know work because they work for me and brought us off the brink of divorce. And again, thank you so much for joining me here tonight at Wife Life with Dr. Gail. I am here every single Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you to pieces. Have an amazing, amazing night.
Hey, one last thing before I go. Have you downloaded my ebook called Mind Blowing Sex, God's Way? If you haven't, do me a favor. Go to my description, hit the link, and download Mind Blowing Sex. It will not only change you, it will change your marriage. Have a great day.
We're bringing sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up?